trying to lift your arms higher behind you. You might be leaning your torso back or leaning forward with your arms over your back. Just explore the limits of your flexibility here. Before then, moving into a camel pose.
Oh, Lizzie's the worst. She keeps stepping on my computer, stopping my videos. I don't really want
leaning back, arching your torso,
drinking my water,
maybe holding blocks or using a bolster.
Did you get your dishes, Boo?
I like to have a bolster across my ankles and then reach that with my hands while I
She is back. Awful. If it wasn't cold out, I'd put it outside.
Chest opener. And then as you come back up out of this shape, you can sit back onto your feet again for the hero's pose. Once again, focusing on your breath. Hands on your thighs. Maybe pray your hands over your chest, over your heart. When you're ready, you can swing your legs out around in front of yourself for staff pose. With props, you can stack pillows onto the tops of your legs before you ragdoll your body over your thighs, resting your torso on the props. Alternatively, you can use the strap on the balls of your feet for the same type of effect here. We're going to relax into this for an extended period. Really lean into it. Envision tilting your hips towards your feet, towards your toes. Again, allow gravity to do the work for you. And focus, easing your weight forward, trusting the gravitational pull to completely support you. Then when we're done, we're going to remove the props, setting them aside. Get your left leg stretched out long and bring the right foot up high to the inseam of the left thigh. Reaching your left toes, reaching for your left toes in a side bend. Breathe into this stretch. Focus on relaxing into it. Trusting gravity to do its work. Then when you're ready, come up to neutral. Get your legs into a wide straddle, leaning forward. Take a couple of deep, intentional breaths. Maybe using the blocks to rest your elbows on as you're leaning forward. Slowly transitioning, switching it out to the other side. Place your left foot to the inner right thigh, reaching for those right toes in a side bend. Your left hand is over the right hand and foot. Focusing on your breath, and again, trusting gravity to do its magic, supporting you and keeping you safe. Then coming back up to neutral, stretching both legs out to a wide leg straddle again. Leaning forward, reaching out in front of yourself or resting your forearms and forehead on two blocks stacked on top of each other. Focus on leaning the weight of your skull on onto that block, trusting gravity to fully support you, trusting the props. Relaxing, intentional breathing. And then we're going to come into a seated butterfly, holding the soles of your feet together with both hands, pushing knees towards the floor, sitting up tall, and then mindfully bending your head and your neck towards your feet before gently rising your head slowly up to neutral, imagining a string above your head, pulling it straight up. And then twist your head from side to side, first to the right, and then neutral, and then to the left, and then back to neutral. Now stretch your neck down, rolling it out. Small movements at first. Turn your head back and forth like you're indicating a no. You can stretch your neck diagonally, bending from side to side. If you want, you can move your head up and down as if acknowledging a yes. If it's in your practice, you can do a full circle rotation in one direction and then the full circle rotation in the other direction. And then bring your head to neutral before shifting into easy pose. Touching down to the ground with your left fingertips. Drop your right ear to your right shoulder. You have an option here to use a light pressure with your right fingertips on the top of your skull. If you want, you can move your head slightly back and forth to gently massage out your neck muscles. And then your head and neck back to neutral. Reaching with your right hand towards the ground while dropping your left ear to your left shoulder, again with that slight pressure with the left fingertips if you wish, moving the head and neck slightly back and forth, and then back to neutral. And again, turn your head slowly from side to side, gently to the right. Hold, back to neutral, slowly to the left, and then back to neutral. Now we bring ourselves into that wide straddle, again leaning forward. You may want to use the blocks in front of you to rest your forehead on, again, as we will remain in this stretch for an extended period. Focus your breathing, filling your lungs, emptying your lungs, and then filling them again with clean air, appreciating the oxygen traveling through your system, in your bloodstream, making its way to your muscles as you relax into the stretch. Then you can pick up a block in each of your hands, reaching over your left foot. Place those blocks on either side of your foot and rest your hands on each of the blocks, or just reach for your toes. Allowing gravity to assist your efforts, making the side stretch almost effortless. And then picking up those blocks and placing them out in front of you, forwards. And then you can pick them back up to place on either side of your right foot. You can reach for your toes, or you can rest your hands on the blocks. Breathe deep and allow gravity to work its magic. After letting go of all of your stress, then come back to neutral, and you can set the blocks aside. Our next pose will be bending our right knee over our left leg that's extended out straight, twisting to the right, gazing to the back of the room. Right hand or fist is on the floor behind you. Arm is supporting the torso. Using your left elbow to leverage on the right knee. You can slowly turn your gaze to the front of the room. And then slowly returning your gaze to the back of the room, all while continuing to leverage that left elbow on the right knee. And then as you come out of this twist, you're simply going to switch sides, bending the left knee over the right leg extended out straight, left hand or fist on the floor behind you, gazing over the left shoulder towards the back of the room, leveraging your right elbow or arm against that left knee. And then slowly turning the gaze over the right shoulder towards the front of the room. And then carefully returning your drishti to the back of the room over your left shoulder again. Continuing to leverage that right elbow on that left knee. And then back to neutral. Now hold the soles of your feet together, getting into the butterfly. Again, pressing those knees towards the floor. Sitting up tall. Slowly and carefully bending your head and neck towards your feet. And then again, imagining a string being pulled from above, from the top of your head. As you come up to neutral, gently turn your head to the right. Slowly then back to neutral. Carefully to the left. And then again back to neutral. And now we're going to get our legs into cow face and then Lord of the Fish. First, bend the right knee over the left knee that is also bent, stacking them on top of one another for cow face. Sitting up tall, holding each of your feet in each of your hands. You can use your thumbs to press into the arches of each foot, giving yourself a nice gentle foot massage if you like. Then we're going to turn all the way to the right. The right arm is in back. The left elbow is leveraging against that right knee again. Looking to the back of the room. Appreciate the power of this twist. And then slowly you can turn your head to the opposite side. Carefully, then back again. And then back to neutral. And now you can straighten both legs out in front of yourself for staff pose. Reaching your arms out wide to the sides and arching them overhead in the half moon up towards the sky. Interlace your hands and fingers into that bind, turning them outward, reaching up as tall as you can before bending forward while reaching for your toes. Notice any tightness in your back, loosening, before then coming back up to neutral. And now preparing to switch your legs out for cow face on the other side. Your left knee bends and goes over your right bent knee. Holding your feet with each of your hands, you can massage the thumbs into the arches of each foot again. Sitting tall, before then twisting to the left, right arm leveraging against the left knee, looking over the left shoulder to the back of the room, and then slowly, after a minute, turning your gaze to the other side of the room, looking over your right shoulder, and then slowly returning the gaze to the left shoulder to look towards the back of the room once again. And then your head back to neutral. Coming out of this twist, you can return to staff pose, reaching your arms out wide, your legs out front, making a half moon arch, touching hands overhead for steeple grip, reaching tall, before then leaning forward to touch your toes. Notice if you have any more tension in your back than you did just a minute ago in the same stretch. And then as you come back up to neutral, transition into easy pose, reaching your arms out to the sides, and then up overhead for the half moon arch, touching your hands together for prayer hands before getting into cactus arms, preparing for eagle arms, from cactus or goalpost arms together, arms together with the right elbow over the left elbow, hands together, pushing elbows up slightly, bending the head and neck down slightly. Option to then slowly look up as high as possible, leaning your head slightly back while pushing eagle arms towards the sky. As your arms unpretzel, then reach them back out wide, touching the hands down to the ground, and then arching them back up overhead into another half moon, touching hands together for prayer hands, and then back to cactus, and again eagle arms with the left elbow over the right elbow this time, pushing the elbows up slightly, bending the neck and head down. And again, option to slowly look up as high as possible and leaning your head slightly back, pushing your elbows and arms up as we unpretzel ourselves again, and stretch arms out wide to the sides, touch the earth, then reaching back out wide and up, bringing them overhead in another half moon arch to steeple grip, sitting tall. And then simple twists to each side, lowering your arms down, your right hand goes behind you, your left hand goes onto your right knee, lifting your right arm up and crossing it over the left arm, reaching for that left knee with the right hand, then the left hand onto the floor behind you, before then raising that left arm up high, reaching over the right arm to hold the right knee, before then coming back to neutral and just hugging your knees lightly in this basket shape. Here you have an opportunity to get into the boat pose. I like to hold my hands under my legs first, for a nice strong boat pose. Before then letting go and just holding my arms out parallel to the ground, legs up in a V shape. And then I like to scissor my legs and feet for a moment just to get an additional workout on my core strength. Before then laying down onto your back, stretch out long. Before then planting both of your feet on the floor, knees bent. You may want to hold a block or a pillow in between the knees and possibly another one on each side of you to allow your knees to fall to the right. Hold this stretch for about a minute. Arms in a T. Focusing the gaze out over the left fingertips. Then slowly rotate your head to look out the other direction to your right. And then back again over your left shoulder before head and neck go back to neutral. And then bring the knees to neutral. Allow those knees to fall to the other side, to the left, still with the arms in a T, gazing out over your right fingertips. Slowly turn your head to be looking out over your left shoulder, setting your gaze over the left fingertips, and then slowly turning back to look out over your right shoulder again, then back to neutral, knees back to neutral. Remove any props, hug in both knees, bending the head and the neck, engaging the feet, flexing your heels, pointing your toes, rotate your ankles. Then plant both feet firmly on the mat again. Raise your right knee high over your left knee. Then allow your legs to fall to your right with your arms in a T, gazing out over those left fingertips. We're going to hold this twist for several breaths. This is our last twist. It's my all-time favorite. Slowly rotate your head to be looking out over your right fingertips. Slowly rotate your head back to be looking out over your left fingertips again. And then back to neutral. You can undo your knees as you bring them up to neutral. Hug those knees into your chest, rocking and rolling before firmly planting both feet back onto the mat again for the other side. Lifting your left knee up to bend it over the right knee. Allowing the legs to fall to the left. Arms are in that T with your gaze out over your right fingertips. Enjoy this final twist. rotate your head and neck to be looking over the left shoulder. And then slowly rotate your head and neck to be looking back over that right shoulder. Then the head and neck back to neutral. Release your knees back up to neutral. Hug both knees in tight. One more time, rocking and rolling. You have an option here for the happy baby. Grabbing each of your feet with each of your hands. You can rock the baby, maybe alternate straightening and slightly bending each knee. When we're done with happy baby, coming out of that form, we'll just lay flat. Before then reaching for a block for supported bridge, plant both feet firmly on the mat again, lifting the hips, sliding a block under the small of your back on its lowest level. Relax, lowering the small of your back onto that block. And just relax into the supported bridge. While still on the block, you can reach for your strap, or you can do this without the strap. But with your strap, get the canvas across the balls of both feet, and we'll do legs up the wall. You can walk your legs out, alternating, straightening and bending one side and then the other if you want. And when we're done with our legs up the wall, we'll set the strap to the side, remove the block. If it's in your practice, there's an opportunity here for a shoulder stand in the plow. You can take a minute or two to do these, or yogi's choice. Any stretch that you would like to feel complete with your practice, or feel free to get into Savasana early and we will meet you there. Should you be in a shoulder stand, you may want to point your toes tall. You might want to rotate your ankles. You might want to flex your heels. Anything you'd like before transitioning into the plow. Then when you're coming out of the plow, slow and controlled with your chin tucked, one vertebrae at a time, roll yourself down onto your mat as slowly as you can, and then relax into that Savasana. Remember the intentions that you set at the beginning of the practice today. Thank yourself for taking time out of your day to focus on yourself and your well-being. As you bring your awareness back into the room and into your body, you can either roll to one side or the other. Give yourself a minute, just laying on your side if you want, before pushing yourself to sit up. Or if it's comfortable for you, there's an option here to just slightly rock with your chin tucked, coming up with your elbows behind yourself, straightening your arms out behind you, and pushing yourself straight up. Either way, we'll transition into easy pose. Place your left hand on the right knee, right hand on the floor behind you, lightly twisting to the right, crossing that right arm over your left arm, right hand onto the left knee, and then reaching your left hand behind you to the left for another light twist, and then crossing the left arm over the right, and then holding that right knee again with your left hand. And then we can just hug ourselves lightly in this basket shape. Before then, hugging yourself as tightly as you can, making yourself as small as you can, a little seed or a ball, constricting yourself in to take up as little space as possible. Before then, releasing and stretching your arms out wide to the sides into a star shape, and then place each hand on each of your knees, touching the pointer fingers to the thumbs, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. We'll chant Om 3 times in a low pitch. Om. Then stretching your arms out wide again for the half moon arch, bringing your arms up overhead to prayer hands. Then to acknowledge your insight and wisdom, touch your thumbs or knuckles to your third eye on the way to hands over heart. Then reaching the arms out wide one last time for one more half moon arch. Prayer hands overhead, slowly lowering those prayer hands down to hands over heart, and then bowing to close and seal this practice. And so it is. I thank you for this practice today. Be well. Enjoy a very blessed rest of your day. And as always, make sure you drink your water,